What rivalries existed among post-Soviet oligarchs? Imagine a game where the players are some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in Russia after the Soviet Union's fall. These players didn't always get along. Their relationships were full of fierce competition, shifting alliances, and constant power struggles. When the Soviet Union collapsed, a tiny group of people managed to grab some of the world's largest oil, gas, and metal reserves. This sudden transfer of wealth created a new class of billionaires called oligarchs. But instead of working together, they fought over who controlled what. Some had deep roots in the Soviet system, called insider oligarchs, because they had connections to the old government. Others were outsiders, often younger and more educated, trying to build their own empires. These differences caused immediate rivalries. Insider oligarchs used their old ties to stay ahead, while outsider oligarchs had to forge new relationships with government officials. The competition was not just about money but also about status and influence. Each oligarch wanted to outsmart the others and stay in favor with the Kremlin. Their survival depended on political backing, so they constantly jostled for power. As time went on, family ties to top officials became another battleground. Some oligarchs married into political families or had relatives in government. For example, President Vladimir Putin's daughter and her ex-husband controlled major assets, creating a hierarchy where those with family connections had an advantage. Rivalries also played out across different sectors. Oil, metals, and natural resources each had their own power players. When the government changed policies or prices fluctuated, the balance of power shifted. The initial privatization process in the 1990s was a major source of conflict. Those who acquired the most valuable assets became extremely wealthy, while others were left with less profitable holdings. These early inequalities hardened into lasting hierarchies. The most successful oligarchs used their wealth to buy more assets and influence, while others struggled to stay afloat. Despite the common perception of a unified elite, the oligarchs rarely worked together. They were often at odds, each trying to maximize their own interests. President Vladimir Putin capitalized on this division, using threats of legal action or asset seizures to keep them in check. This fragmentation showed how unstable the system was. It was not a typical capitalist economy where success depends on efficiency. Instead, wealth and power were tied to political favor. Oligarchs constantly feared losing their status if they fell out of favor with the Kremlin. By the 2010s, many powerful oligarchs had either been brought under state control or left the country. Those still in Russia operated under strict limits. Rivalries shifted from open conflicts to more subtle competitions through state institutions. The invasion of Ukraine in 2020 added new layers of tension. Some oligarchs with international assets faced sanctions, creating divisions. Some tried to distance themselves from Putin, while others doubled down on loyalty. These new rivalries showed how fragile and unpredictable the post-Soviet oligarchic system remains. From a communist point of view, these rivalries highlight the dangers of rapid privatization without democratic rules. The fight for wealth and power among oligarchs shows how capitalism can turn into a game of predatory competition. Without collective ownership or legal protections, wealth becomes concentrated in a small elite. Their constant infighting reflects how the system favors individual gain over social well-being. It's a story of how the rush to privatize quickly led to chaos, corruption, and a class of billionaires whose interests often clash rather than cooperate.